4.7 cm pack auf PzKpfw 35R, German tank destroyer built on the chassis of the French Renault R-35 light tank. After the surrender of France in June 1940, significant amount of French armored equipment fell into German hands. Among the captured vehicles, there were about 800 R-35 tanks, which were assigned the German designation PzKpfw 35 R-731. These vehicles were designed as infantry support vehicles and therefore had strong armor, weak armament, 37mm caliber cannon and low speed. Initially, the R-35 tanks were to be incorporated into armored units, but their shortcomings meant that the idea was quickly abandoned. The captured tanks were instead incorporated into independent armored units stationed in the occupied territories, infantry units stationed in France, or handed over to German police and security units fighting guerrillas. Despite these actions, there was still a problem with the management of captured R-35s. One of the weapon designs successfully used during the French campaign was the Panzerjäger I tank destroyer built on the chassis of the PzKpfw I Ausf. The decreasing number of PzKpfw I tanks, which could be converted into tank destroyers, combined with the possession of a significant number of underdeveloped R-35s, made it decided to construct a tank destroyer using the R-35 chassis and armored like the Panzerjäger I, with an anti-tank gun 4.7 cm Pak 36. The design of the new vehicle was developed at the Berlin-based Alket company. Work began in December 1940, and on February 8, 1941, a prototype with a milled steel superstructure was ready. The rotating turret was removed from the R-35 and a large exposed superstructure was attached in its place. The front plate of the superstructure was 25mm thick, the remaining ones were 20mm thick. A 47mm gun with a firing angle in the horizontal plane of 35 degrees and from -8 to +12 degrees in the vertical plane was mounted in the front plate. The crew of the vehicle was to consist of a driver mechanic, a target loader and a loader. According to the first order, 130 vehicles were built. Then another 70 vehicles were ordered. 26 of them were command vehicles without the gun and armed only with MG-34. The chassis to be converted were probably overhauled at the Renault plant in Paris. Later, they were delivered to the Alket plant, where the superstructure with weapons was installed. 93 vehicles were rebuilt in May 1941. 33 in June, 5 in July, 22 in August, 28 in September and 19 in October. A prototype of a tank armed with a 50mm Pak 38 gun was also built, but serial production of such vehicles was not launched. Combat use 4.7 cm Pak auf PzKpfw 35R. There is not much information. Due to their low maximum speed, vehicles of this type were assigned to infantry units. On April 1st, 1942, the Wehrmacht had 148 of these vehicles. At the beginning of 1944, only 110. Until 1943, a small number of these vehicles were used on the Eastern Front of World War II. Most of the vehicles were assigned to units stationed in France. They used these vehicles to repel the Allied raid on Dieppe in August 1942 and later during the fighting in Normandy, June-August 1944. Most tanks of this type were destroyed or abandoned in France in the summer of 1944.